7 of the strategies we talked about, developing a crystal clear one-liner, absolutely critical, costs nothing. Almost no one here in the room has one, even though you're members of an investor club where we talk about it all the time. So I think on average, even less people do. Identify choke points that are strategic, where you can't get displaced easily. Develop your investor avatar, the investor you're focusing on. Do holistic investor relationship development. Invest energy in attracting people, providing value versus chasing them. All the energy you spend reaching out to people that don't know you. Instead, put that energy into creating value and opening doors and providing content that brings investors into your world. Construct your position using your DNA, your biggest strengths where it's not too crowded, et cetera, and be the number one expert in your sandbox over the long term. Most importantly, out of everything we talked about, is just to integrate things as much as possible so you're headed in the right direction and it's all aligned with the investor that you're trying to attract at the end of the day. Besides the 10 workshops, we have 20 recorded webinars, might be close to 30 plus now, that are all an hour long. If you want to go niche on choke points, there's an hour-and-a-half webinar on choke points. And then between that and the streamed investor summits, we have 20 HD recorded investor summits that have 20 to 75 investors on stage at each of those 20 investor summits. You could watch our content for a couple months and not run out of stuff to watch in the portal, but people really enjoy the in-person events more. It's easier to digest and more fun to be part of, I know. I wrote this book called Speed of Implementation because I talked about maybe writing it after having this workshop for years at the Harvard Club, and there was a publicly traded investment bank that said, I've heard you talk about writing this book for years, and the whole topic is speed of implementation, and you still haven't written the book. So that night I drank a couple cups of coffee in my red-eye flight, and I wrote the book that night on the airplane and said, oh, here you go. And so by the time I landed, I had the book. It's really thin. I just give it to my team members. It's one of our core values, is speed of implementation. The whole point is that you do what's in front of you, and then the horizon expands, and you can see what you need to do next. I recorded a video where it looked like I hadn't shaved in 4 days, and I was like in the mountains in the Pacific Crest Trail this summer. And I did 2 mountain summits there. I'd never done one before. At 4 different points, we thought, there's no way when we get to that point, we're going to be able to go up that part of the mountain. And each time we got there, we said, oh, okay, well, we can go over here. We can go up there. And we figured it out. And that's speed of implementation. You might see in front of you that, oh, well, what I can do right now is talk to that one partner and just formalize that partnership to get access to a lot more investors. What I can do right now is do my one-liner and a video for my materials. And then after you take action on that, you'll see, okay, well, let's get the one-pager dialed in. Let's do a video of the manufacturing floor. Let's do an interview for that podcast. Let's make a database of the 110 podcasts in my industry that are out there. Have somebody figure out all the contact details for them, reach out to them, and give them a reason to put me on their podcast and get on 100 different podcasts to get exposure. Those are all things you can take action on, and once you do it, then it will expand and you'll understand what you could do next from there. You don't have to do everything we talked about today, just 4 or 5 things, and then the next 4 or 5 will unfold from there. And if you forget everything else we talked about except for those first 4 things, we have another workshop every quarter, and there'll be plenty of more ideas to help you raise more capital. When I was in Nice, this is like maybe 12 years ago now, I went on a jog along this waterfront here. How many people have been to Nice before by chance? So good, 20 people here. So this waterfront is 5 miles long, and I went on a little jog there thinking I was in decent shape, and then all these middle-aged men were like running past me, and some women too. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? And I was running at a pretty decent pace, I thought, at that time. And they were running faster than me, and I saw their name badges, and it said like Nice Ironman 2010 or something. They had already swam like a mile in the ocean and biked like, is it 25 miles or 75 miles?
For 2.5 swim, 120 ride.
120.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had 2.5 mile swim, 120 miles of biking, and then they ran a marathon, and they were running faster than I was running on the boardwalk. So you can expect how that made me feel. It felt like Lynn in Fort Worth, right? So on the bridge, right? So crying. So I was like, oh wow, and it made me run a little bit faster. So the point of being here today is to peg yourself against some people that maybe are running a little bit faster than you, and to learn from them on stage at the events here in person, so that you can, because it's made me realize, oh, I could push myself a lot more than I am right now. And so we hope you get a little bit of that by being part of our community. Do your walkthrough call, Jennifer. If you're a brand new member, make sure you just do a 10-minute walkthrough call, because otherwise you don't even know what you've paid for. A lot of people just show up to a few events a year, and they come to 4 events a year out of the 15. They miss the events coming up. They miss our text message and our email. They don't log into the portal for months at a time or forget about it. You might enjoy coming to the events. Maybe someone else on your team can use the portal. Maybe they can get certified in capital raising, or watch at least the Choke Point webinar, so they speak the same language about choke points at least. And use it for your whole team, not just you. If you can't come to one event, then send your partner. send your spouse. Happy to have your whole team leverage it. As long as not more than one person in person shows up at a time, then you have to get a corporate membership, which allows for 2 or more people to show up to 3 or 4 people, I think it is. Pitchdex.com. Andres runs that division. Speak to him in the back. FamilyOfficeDatabases.com. Daphne's here by chance today. Great time to talk to him. And then Jennifer about anyone who's a new member. So we hope that our community, through the types of ideas you heard today, will transform how you raise capital and conduct your investor relations over the next 36 months. And we feel like if we can over-deliver to you in doing that, then we're going to become business friends long-term, and there'll be opportunities to work together in ways that are much bigger than paying for an annual membership or sponsoring an exhibit booth or something as we get to know each other better. So I appreciate everyone's time.